Always cool to see Eltharion defending his home turf in this replay from Poison Ducky. He's up against another XMT veteran, the Flying Taco himself. Two old friends of the channel we're going to be taking a look today as they clash with these two factions. We've got some heavy hitters on the side of Plagues here, Toad Dragon and a Chaos Sorcerer, Lord of Nurgle, specifically Lord of Death. Very cool. Interesting to not see the healing, but he's going for more of a damage focus with Spear Leech, Fate of Buna. He's also got the Filth Mace for some on-demand terror there. The Marauders with the Great Weapons, regular Marauders as well, mixed in the front line, and some Marauder Horsemen to back them up. We've got some Bile Trolls and a Soul Grinder, along with some Rot Flies up in the sky. As for the High Elves, we saw Eltharion there. We got a couple Tyrannok Chariots, love to see, very cool choice. A couple of Shadow Warriors as well, some Valyrian Reavers, Silver Helms, a couple Archers, lots of Spears, Silver and Guard. Yeah, so quite a light army, nice and sort of like a mid-tier campaign army, maybe like, you know, turn 20, 30, I don't know. You could probably rush some of these units a little bit faster, but anyway, yeah, Shadow Warriors, really nice choice against Nurgle to do some kiting. The regular archers, of course, trading very cost effectively as well. So right now, Ducky's doing a nice job breaking up the advance of Taco here. Taco taking some damage from those Tyrannok chariots. Eltharion kind of threatening right here, but some plague response. The mortar from the Soul Grinder is going to land and do some damage there. Bile Trolls also catching up to the Tyrannok chariots. And do some really nice damage here. Tyrannok Chariots actually do have magic damage on their bows. Not that it necessarily matters a ton here. There's not too many demonic units, but they would be able to bypass physical resistance. Kind of a cool little gimmick. Their bows do okay damage. It's not anything too crazy, but it will add up over time, certainly, especially against high-value units. But they try and extricate themselves from the trolls. Somewhat successful. A few of the unit models at least getting loose there. Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle are the throwing axe variant, so they do have shields, which will help somewhat against the archers here, but still don't want to take too much direct fire. Rot Flies fly down, though. We've got some skirmishing out on the flanks here, maybe a Fate of Yuna just destroying those Silver Helms, trying to take out that mobility. Trap High Elves in the box of Death and Plagues. The Toad Dragon drawing a lot of arrows here as he rampages through the front line. Eltharion's gonna maybe land there. Nope, looks like having a little bit of landing bug, but eventually does get the job done. Starts to take some swipes, missiles from both sides flying in. Absolutely beautiful right there. Even the on demand, well, I guess not on demand, but the passive missiles from Eltharion dropping. He himself is going to get Spirit Leech. We get the Bile Trolls charging in. Skirmish troops for Poison Ducky are getting inundated pretty quickly and significantly compromised by Trolls and Marauder Horsemen. The Rot Flies running free, so things looking a little bit grim, other than they were able to pour in a lot of damage during that time and basically take out the Toad Dragon here, since there's no healing besides the army ability. I mean, it's possible Nurgle could heal it up. Taco could get his Toad Dragon back, maybe, but yeah, not going to be any healing magic directly from the Chaos Sorcerer here. So let's see how that develops. Yeah, looks like Terror kicking in for some of those Marauder Horsemen. They're going to run for the hills right now. The Mortar of Soul Grinder continuing to pile away, just pile on continuous damage. A little bit of Tempest here to push back those Rot Flies, and Hiles have kind of been able to secure their backline a little bit here. Reavers running in to challenge those Marauder Horsemen. Should be in a great engagement there. Chasing off this Toad Dragon. We've got these Reavers running there. Silver Helms also punching away the Marauder Horsemen. So Isles kind of stabilize their backline a little bit here, and that makes these Shadow Warriors incredibly dangerous to units like Bile Trolls. Don't have a whole lot of armor, especially as they're getting quite tired. They're going to be pretty vulnerable to the shooting here, but let's see. They're going to try and close the distance. Take out those Shadow Warriors before they can get too many arrows off. Shadow Warriors, of course, being skirmish troops, can continue to fire on the move. And we've got a Tyrannok Chariot still out here, chasing some routing units and rotting units, to be honest. Is going to get caught by those Rot Flies, actually. Speaking of rotting units in that pursuit. Has to kind of pull away from the Soul Grinder there as well. So Eltharion keeping it real here in the center. Hasn't taken too much damage, honestly, from all those engagements. Does have some capacity to heal himself with Apotheosis, but that Fang Sword, I assume he popped that when he was fighting the Toad Dragon. Had to have helped a decent amount, get that extra weapon strength, get himself some physical resistance. Toad Dragon, I don't believe has magic damage, but anyway, High Elves kind of doing a little bit of kiting right now, trying to pull back as they chase some units off, use up some of that ammunition, get some of these skirmish troops back, more Tyrannok chariots coming through, and kind of forcing the Bile Trolls into more of a defensive stance where they're having to kind of protect these different Marauder units. Also protect Soul Grinder to a degree. The shooting from the Tyrannoks will do some damage, especially now that the Soul Grinder's lost some armor from being exhausted. They could actually do some okay damage there. But let's see. We might just choose to charge those Marauders instead as Eltharion defends his own back line. Rot Knight's going to find a lane, as do the Bile Trolls, to just smash those Shadow Warriors. So a little bit tough there. We do see another Tempest try and finish off those Rot Flies. But Bile Trolls accomplished a pretty nice mission here. The question is, will it end up mattering? The Rot Flies are going to drop due to demonic instability. Bile Trolls have taken some damage from Eltharion. He's definitely a beast in terms of being a decent combatant, right? Griffin Lords tend to generally be pretty high up in terms of combat lords. Now that they have proper amount of HP. But especially supporting his own troops there, Eltharion should be just fine. Can probably, yeah, beat down those Bile Trolls. In fact, I think he just terror-routed them. Yep. The other Bile Trolls, in the meantime, continuing to pressure here. Tyrannok chariots. We've got the Chaos Sorcerer Lord as well. Feeling pretty good. He's got okay stats overall. Critically, he's not too tired yet. Maybe he should take some time to try and rest here if he can. Unfortunately, don't see the Winds of Magic he has left, so I don't know about any more spells, but him plus the Soul Grinder is a pretty scary kind of single entity combo. You could maybe get a good tear route here and get some of these other line troops off the field. They would do okay against Eltharion. Another Bile Troll here, also quite healthy. So Taco's a crafty one, a veteran of many, many games. Not going quietly into that good night. As we see a little Apotheosis curiously on the Silver Helms. I guess it makes sense. They've still got a lot of unit models left to try and heal them up a little bit, keep them in the fight. Eltharion doesn't need it himself too much, although for me, I probably would have just put it on Eltharion just to be safe, try and get him maxed for potential late-game engagement, but we'll see. Perhaps the Silver Helms can get rid of the Chaos Sorcerer here and equalize that single entity engagement before it even happens. Filth Mace does get popped, though, so double terror, extra poison, corroded armor, even for the Silver Helms. Not that it matters too much. A little bit of non-AP damage, I guess, from both of these units. Here comes Eltharion to the rescue. He's going to charge in, quickly tear out those Bile Trolls, and then take on Soul Grinder. Chaos Sorcerer Lord squeaks away in the meantime. Perhaps try and rally some more troops. Hard to say. Going to take a couple shots from the Tyrannok chariots. Bile Trolls also move up. Going to get met with some cold steel of the High Elves. Spearmen moving in. Defending what's left of their very tattered ranged troops. Here comes Eltharion as well. Does eat another Spirit Leech, so at least a little bit of magic left for Taco at this point. But Eltharion still has plenty of capacity to heal himself. He has plenty of healing cap left as well. So shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. Like I said, Taco's a crafty one. Got to be careful. Ooh, really nice use of that very late game shot. He saved that one last shot for a very opportune moment. Gets huge damage on these spearmen. That could be a big one. If he manages to tear out all that support, like I said, Soul Grinder has a pretty decent shot in this fight, especially if Bile Trolls move in to support him. Ooh, another Spirit Leech there from the... yeah, very wisely, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord just staying away from the fight, using his magic to affect it at a distance. And Eltharion gets rear charge here by the Bile Trolls. Spearmen don't have the best engagement to actually support here. They would need to, like, filter into the Trolls themselves, perhaps. But Desperate Apotheosis on Eltharion. A little bit of terror actually kicking in for the High Elf Spearmen. They're going to come back from route, but... yeah, Eltharion does manage to just slip out of the grasp there of the Bile Trolls. He's got some Silver Helms also coming through for a nice mass screen. So probably would have been able to screen out through them regardless, but still getting out of that bad situation. Absolutely critical. Now all the High Elf support is here. We've got all the Spearmen Silver Helms, those pokey anti-large spearmen in particular, are obviously going to be very critical against all this big, scary, disgusting monstrosity. Like, look at these bile trolls. I mean, just nasty. Put your tongue away, sir. Anyway. More apotheosis. Atharian stands firm and tall, and the last breath of the Plague Father's forces is extinguished, and that will be the game. Wow, quite a game. Nice. Almost a comeback by Taco there with Nurgle, but wasn't quite able to pull out the win. Nice to see some kind of little bit of off-meta stuff. I don't know. Lore of Death is not bad by any means, but I guess Lore of Nurgle is a much more common pick, especially a build like this to be able to heal up that Toad Dragon, which basically was a giant boondoggle that did absolutely nothing, but Soul Grinder definitely made up for it. Nurgle Soul Grinder, I think, is definitely a unit that is a proper and good tool to have in the arsenal. Helps kind of keep some matchups a little bit honest. Bile Trolls also do a nice job here. Marauders, decent overall. Some units going to pay for themselves, some not, but overall, Flying Taco got pretty good value across most of his army, just wasn't quite able to finish off that darn High Elven leadership, which has certainly been the bane of many of my games against the High Elves as well, but I really like the skirmish element here from Poison Ducky with those Shadow Walkers, plus Tyrannok Chariots have some 360 shooting skirmish units. The Tyrannok Chariots, as we saw there, have some nice anti-infantry and disruption capabilities, especially early on in the battle, but even in the late game, chasing some routing units off. The Silver Helms also respectable amount of value for sure for mid-tier cavalry that at some points in this game's life cycle, this trilogy of games life cycle, they have been not great, to be honest, but an honest day's work for the Silver Helms, and they've definitely earned their keep. So, fun one for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.